Welcome to ForexTV.com. It's Friday, November 2nd. I'm Remy Hoki for New York Forex Market Buzz. In the North American afternoon session, Euro dollar is trading at 145.13 as of 1:18 p.m. Eastern Time. Meanwhile, sterling dollar is at $2.0882 and dollar yen is at 114.76. In U.S. economic data, non-farm payrolls surprised the market this morning. The Labor Department reported that 166,000 new jobs were created in October. The figures for September were revised down to 96,000 from 110,000 jobs, and the unemployment rate was firm at 4.7%. Joining us now is Nick Bennenbroek, Head of Currency Strategy at Wells Fargo. Good afternoon, Nick.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us today. Well, so we're here on this Friday afternoon. It's been a volatile week with the Fed rate cut and the climb in NFP for October. Well, the FX market has been watching equities and commodities and, of course, the latest U.S. economic data. But, Nick, earlier today, the IMF's managing director said that the U.S. dollar is still overvalued, but with the dollar hitting new record lows against the high yielders, when do you expect the greenback to stabilize?
Well, I actually think we're probably pretty close as far as the dollar stabilizing is concerned right now. I've been perhaps a little surprised that some of the reasonably good news we're seeing this week in terms of GDP growth, as you mentioned today's payroll report, hasn't really been able to do more to at least stabilize the dollar. I think most of the credit problems that we're seeing have been initially felt in the US. I think we'll probably see more of that economic impact some of the international economies in the coming months. And as that happens, I think we'll start to see the dollar actually recover some of these losses that we're seeing over the last weeks.
Well, let's move on to the technicals for the U.S. currency. Next week we have both the BOE and ECB rate announcement. So ahead of that, if you could give us your levels for the U.S. dollar against the sterling, euro, yen, and also the Canadian dollar.
I think, as far as the euro is concerned, given how poor sentiment is for the dollar right now, there is still potential for a little bit of upside. 146, but on balance for the week, looking at, I would say, overbought conditions in euro or very strong momentum. I'd actually expect to see it fall a little bit next week, perhaps down to the 143.50 to 144 level. On the pound, I think we're also quite near the peak around 209. Looking for a fall into the region of 207.50, 208, and the Canadian dollar, perhaps we could get towards at least the 94 to 94.5 level. What I would suspect is at some point we're going to see at least a current stabilization of the dollar. I don't think it can go down at this current pace forever, that's for sure.
Okay, we just discussed a euro dollar, but euro yen is seeing pressure with strength in euro dollar. So the pair is back above 145 for euro against the greenback. But what is your range for the euro against the Japanese currency?
The euro against the Japanese currency, probably there I would be looking for some decline from current levels. We're at 167. I think we've definitely seen more elements of volatility. So, I think next week we could see that fall back towards the 165, maybe just slightly below level.
Okay, and before we head into the weekend, let's take a look at the data front here in the U.S. next week. We have international trade as well as retail sales at the end of next week. Well, it's apparent that there is a housing downturn here in the U.S., but other sectors have been moving along. So tell us what FX traders should be watching for in the coming week.
I think probably the retail sales figure is going to be the most significant number, and there we're expecting probably another reasonable advance for the month of October in the region of, say, a 0.5% increase for the month. Other than that, I suspect we may see some widening of the trade balance, probably not because of an underlying deterioration of the trade balance, simply because we've seen a very large uptick in oil prices recently, and that's definitely going to reflect the deficit as far as the US is concerned.
Okay, Nick, thank you very much for your insight and have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too.
That wraps it up for your Forex Market Buzz with Nick Bennenbroek, Head of Currency Strategy at Wells Fargo. I'm Remy Hoki. Join us later this afternoon for PM Exchange right here on ForexTV.com.